Vandeham Shri Guru Shiyatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitam Scha Om Gyana Timaranda Shahakyarajana Shalakya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gaurva Bhistam Supurakam Gurganana Sisha Sambhusitam Chintya Samastavedaniparam Shirupa Patanagam Govinda Bidam Ujvalam Bharatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sunaram Mande Vishwagurun Shad Divyad Bhagavat Prem Noe Bija Pradam Vanshakopatarubyas Chakripa Sindhu Bhyavacha Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahamaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Namah. So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Antya-lila chapter 2, the chastisement of Junior Haridas. Okay. And text number 101. Egdin Acharya Prabhure Koila Nimantran Gare Bata Kore Kore Bibida Byanjan. One day, Bhagavan Acharya invited Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to dine at his home. Thus he was preparing rice and various types of vegetables. Chota Haridas Nama Prabhura Kirtaniya Tahare Kohenacharya Nakiya Aniya, a devotee named Chota Haridas used to sing for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhagavan Acharya called him to his home and spoke as follows. Moraname Shaki Mahitir Bhagini Stanigiya Shukla Chao Ekmana Anaha Magiya. Please go to the sister of Shiki Mahiti in my name, ask her for a mound of white rice and bring it here. In India, Shukla Chao, white rice, is also called Atapa Chao, or rice that has not been boiled before being threshed. Another kind of rice called Siddha Chao, brown rice, is boiled before being threshed. Generally, first-class fine white rice is required for offerings to the deity. Thus, Bhagavan Acharya asked Srila Haridas, or Chota Haridas, a singer in the assembly of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to get some of this rice from the sister of Shiki Mahiti. A mound is a standard of measurement in Orissa for rice and other food grains. So normally to get the husk off rice, they boil it, but for rice that's being offered to the deities, it shouldn't be boiled. It should be taken off mechanically, or because if it's boiled, it's not considered so good for offering. It's been cooked already. So, Mahitir Bhagini Se Nama Madhavi Devi Brida Tapasvini Ara Parama Vaishnavi. Shiki Mahiti's sister was named Madhavi Devi. She was an elderly lady who always performed austerity. She was very advanced in devotional service. So Madhavi Devi is the sister of Shiki Mahiti, and she's elderly and she's very renounced. Prabhuleka Kore Jare Radhikaragan Jagatera Majje Patra Sadetina Jan. Mahaprabhu accepted her as having formerly been an associate of Srimati Radharani. In the entire world, 3.5 people were his intimate devotees. Swarup Gosayara Raya Ramananda Shiki Mahiti Teen Tara Bhagini Ardajan. The 3 were Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, and Shiki Mahiti, and the half a person was Shiki Mahiti's sister. Now, I've heard it commented that this is a special category given to favor the Orissan devotees, especially. because, of course, there are many prominent devotees who are not included, but the three, in this entire world, 3.5 people were Mahaprabhu's intimate devotees. The three were Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, Shiki Mahiti, and half a person was Shiki Mahiti's sister. Okay. Taratai, Tandula Magi, Anila Haridas, Tandula Deki, Acharjara Adika Ulas. After begging the rice from her, Junior Haridas brought it to Bhagavanacharya, who was very pleased to see its quality. So this is Snehe Randila Prabhur Priya Jay Byanjan Dula Prashada Araj Chaki Lembu Salavan. And in great affection, Bhagavanacharya cooked varieties of vegetables and other preparations dear to Mahaprabhu. He also obtained remnants of food from Lord Jagannath and digestive aids such as ground ginger and also lime with salt. So he's called Chota Haridas. Chota means little, or junior Haridas. Then there's Haridas Senior, and there's other Haridases in Mahaprabhu's association. So this Chota Haridas is younger, and he's a singer. Madhyane Yasiya Prabhu Bhojane Basila Salyanadeki Prabhu Charje Buchila. At noon, when Mahaprabhu came to eat the offerings of Bhagavanacharya, he first appreciated the fine rice and therefore questioned him. Uttama ana eta tambula kahate paila tandula kahate paila acharya kohe madhavi pash magi anila. Where did you get such fine rice? The Lord asked. Bhagavanacharya replied, I got it by begging from Madhavi Devi. Prabhu kohe konjai magi anila chota haridaser namacharya kohila. When Mahaprabhu asked who had begged that rice and brought it back, Bhagavanacharya mentioned the name of Chota Haridas. Anaprasamshya Prabhu Bhojana Gorila Nijagrihe Ashi Govindere Agyadila. Praising the quality of the rice, Mahaprabhu partook of the prasadam. Then, after returning to his residence, he gave the following order to Govinda, his personal assistant. Aji hoite emora agyapaliba chota haridase ihan ashitena diva. From this day forward, do not allow Chota Haridas to come here. Dwaramana hoila haridas duki hoila mane kilagiya dwaraman keho nahijane. When Chota Haridas heard that he had been ordered not to approach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very unhappy. No one could understand why he had been ordered not to come. Tindin hoila haridas kori upavas swarupari ashi puchila mahaprabhurbhash. Haridas fasted continuously for 3 days. Then Swarup Damodar and other confidential devotees approached Mahaprabhu to inquire from him. Konaparad Prabhu koila haridas kilagiya dwaramana Kore Upavas. What great offense has Chota Haridas committed? Why has he been forbidden to come to your door? He has now been fasting for 3 days. Prabhu kohe vairagi kore prakriti sambashan dekitena paronami tahara padan. The Lord replied, I cannot tolerate seeing the face of a person who is a vairagi, or who has accepted the renounced order of life, but who still talks intimately with a woman. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comments that Sharalata, or simplicity, is the first qualification of a Vaishnava, whereas duplicity or cunning behavior is a great offense against the principles of devotional service. As one advances in Krishna consciousness, one must gradually become disgusted with material attachment and thus become more and more attached to the service of the Lord. If one is not factually detached from material activities but still proclaims himself advanced in devotional service, he is cheating. No one will be happy to see such behavior. Durbara Indriya Kori Vishaya Grahan Darabi Prakriti Hare Mune Rapiman. So strongly do the senses adhere to the objects of their enjoyment that indeed a wooden statue of a woman attracts the mind of even a great saintly person. Matras svasra duhitrava na vikitasano bhavet balaban indriyagramo vidvamsham apikarshati. One should not sit closely with one's mother, sister, or daughter, for the senses are so strong that they may attract even a person advanced in knowledge. So this is from Manu Samhita, very strongly worded. One should not sit closely with one's mother, sister, or daughter, for the senses are so strong that they may attract even a person advanced in knowledge. Kiba jiva sab markata vairagya koriya indriya charana bule prakriti sambhashya. There are many persons with little in their possession who accept the renounced order of life like monkeys. They go here and there, engaging in sense gratification and speaking intimately with women. So this is called markata vairagya. And markata means monkey. So externally, monkeys may appear very renounced. They live in trees, they don't have houses, they don't wear clothes, they eat fruit, they're fruitarians, but they go from tree to tree looking for women monkeys. So although they appear externally very renounced, don't even have houses, don't even have clothes, eating only fruit. Nope. But markata vairagya. With those monkeys, what is their consciousness? Markata vairagya. Itako he Mahaprabhu abhyantare gela gosaira beisha deki sabe mauna hoila. Let's see. After saying this, Mahaprabhu entered his room. Seeing him in such an angry mood, all the devotees fell silent. Aradine sabe meli prabhu racharane haridas lagi gichu koila nibedane. The next day, all the devotees together approached the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu to submit an appeal on behalf of Chota Haridas. So Madhavi Devi, she's elderly. She's an elderly Vaishnavi, and she's very strict. She's a Vairagi, but Mahaprabhu is heavily chastising Chota Haridas. Doesn't want to tolerate any person who's he says, one who's renounced talking intimately with women. Alpa Parad Prabhu Goraha Prasad Ebeshika Hoilana Koribe Aparad. Haridas has committed a small offense. The next day, all the devotees together approached the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu to submit an appeal on behalf of Chota Haridas. Haridas has committed a small offense, they said. Therefore, O Lord, please be merciful to him. Now he has received a sufficient lesson. In the future, he will not commit such an offense. Prabhu ko he morabas, na he moraman, prakriti sambhashe vairagi na kore darshan. Mahaprabhu said, my mind is not under my control. It does not like to see anyone in the renounced order who talks intimately with women. Nijakare jahasabe chara brita kata punajari kaha ama nadeki behata. You should all tend to your respective engagements. Give up this useless talk. If you speak this way again, I shall go away and you will no longer see me here. So Mahaprabhu is a very strict sannyasi. And for instance, when the devotees suggested that he give darshan to Maharaj Prataparudra, the king who was very good devotional person, Mahaprabhu said, if you bring this up again, I'll leave. And here, Mahaprabhu was a Virakta sannyasi. He's just so very strict. He would not, Mahaprabhu wouldn't sleep on a cushion or anything. He's sleeping on the ground. So Mahaprabhu said, you should all tend to your respective engagements. Give up this useless talk. If you speak this way again, I shall go away and you will no longer see me here. Etashuni sabe nija karne hastadiya nija nija karye sabe gilana utiya. Hearing this, all the devotees covered their ears with their hands, got up and went about their respective duties. Mahaprabhu madhyana korite chale gela bhujana na jai e Mahaprabhu lila. Mahaprabhu also left that place to perform his noontime duties. No one could understand his pastimes. Aradina sabe paramananda puristane prabhuke prasana gora koila nivedane. The next day all the devotees went to Sri Paramananda Puri and requested him to pacify the Lord. So Mahaprabhu is respecting Paramananda Puri like as Guru Tattva, as like in the category of godbrother of his guru, and in that category of Guru Tattva. So the next day all the devotees went to Sri Paramananda Puri and requested him to pacify the Lord. Tabe Puri Gosai Eka Prabhu Stani Aila Namaskori Prabhu Tare Sambrame Basaila. Paramananda Puri thereupon went alone to the residence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord, after offering him obeisances, seated him by his side with great respect. Puchila ki agyakene hoila agaman haridase prasad lagi koila nibedan. The Lord inquired, what is your order? For what purpose have you come here? Paramananda Puri then submitted his prayer that the Lord show favor to Chota Haridas, to Junior Haridas. Shunya Kohen Prabhu, Shunaha Gosai, Sab Vaishnava Loya Tumi, Raha Etai. Hearing this request, Mahaprabhu replied, my dear Lord, please hear me. It is better for you to stay here with all the Vaishnavas. Mor agya hoya mui jana alananath ekale rohiva tahan govinda matras sat. Please give me permission to go to Alalanath. I shall remain there alone, only Govinda will go with me. Eta bole Prabhu Jari Govinde Bolaila Puriere Namaskara Kori Utiya Chalila. After saying this, the Lord called for Govinda. After offering obeisances to Paramananda Puri, got up and began to leave. Aste Byaste Puri Gosai Prabhu Age Gela Anunaya Kori Prabhure Gare Basaila. In great haste, Paramananda Puri went before him and with great humility persuaded him to sit down in his room. Tomaraje Ichakora Swatantra Ishwar Kebaki Bolite Pare Tomaru Upar. Paramananda Puri said, my dear Lord Chaitanya, you are the independent personality of Godhead. You can do whatever you like. Who can say anything above you? Lokahita lage tomar sababhyabahar ami sabna jani gambira ridaya tomar. All your activities are for the benefit of people in general. We cannot understand them, for your intentions are deep and grave. Etaboli puri gosai gela nijastane haridastane gela sab bhaktagane. After saying this, Paramananda Puri left for his own home. Then all the devotees went to see Chota Haridas, or Junior Haridas. Swarup Gosai Kohe Shuna Haridas, Sabeto Marahita Banshi Horaha Bishwas. Swarup Damodar said, please hear us, Haridas, for we all wish you well. Please believe this. Prabhu Hate Parijache Swatantra Ishwar Kabu Kripa Koribena Jate Doyalu Antar. At present, Mahaprabhu is persisting in his mood of anger because he is the independent Supreme Personality of Godhead. At some time, however, he will surely be merciful, for at heart he is very kind. Tumi hata koile tara hata Seva dibe snana bojana kora apane kroda jabe. The Lord is persisting, and if you also persist, his persistence will increase. It is better for you to bathe and take prasadam. In due course, his anger will automatically subside. Etabole tare snan bojana koranya apana bhavana aila tare ashvasya. Having said this, Swarup Damodar induced Haridas to bathe and take prasadam. After thus reassuring him, he returned home. Prabhu Jari Jana Jagannath Darshane Dure Rohe Haridasa Horana Darshane. When Mahaprabhu went to see Lord Jagannath in the temple, Haridas would stay a long distance away and see him. Mahaprabhu Kripa Sindhu Ke Pare Bujite Priya Bhakti Dandakoran Dharma Bujaite. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the ocean of mercy. Who can understand him? When he chastises his dear devotees, he certainly does so to re-establish the principles of religion or duty. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says in this connection that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the ocean of mercy, chastised Chota Haridas, although Junior Haridas was his dear devotee, to establish that one in the devotional line engaged in pure devotional service should not be a hypocrite. For a person engaged in devotional service in the renounced order, having intimate relationships with women is certainly hypocrisy. This chastisement was given to Chota Haridas as an example to future sahajiyas who might adopt the dress of the renounced order to imitate Rupa Goswami and other bona fide sannyasis, but secretly have illicit connections with women. To teach such men, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised his dear devotee Haridas for a slight deviation from the regulative principles. Srimati Madhavi Devi was a highly elevated devotee. Therefore, approaching her to ask for some rice to serve Mahaprabhu was certainly not very offensive. Nevertheless, just to preserve the regulative principles for the future, Mahaprabhu enforced the hard and fast rule that no one in the renounced order should intimately mix with women. Had Mahaprabhu not chastised Chota Haridas for this slight deviation, so-called devotees of the Lord would have exploited the example of Chota Haridas to continue their habit of illicit connections with women unrestrictedly. Indeed, they still preach that such behavior is allowed for a Vaishnava, but it is strictly not allowed. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the teacher of the entire world, and therefore he enforced this exemplary punishment to establish that illicit sexual connections are never allowed by Vaishnava philosophy. This was his purpose in chastising Chota Haridas. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in fact the most magnanimous incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he strictly prohibited illicit sex. Dekitrasa upajilas sabbhaktagane swapne ha chadila sabe stri sambhashane. After all the devotees saw this example, a mentality of fear grew among them. Therefore, they all stopped talking with women, even in dreams. In connection with Stri Sambhashana, talking with women, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that talking with women for the purpose of mingling with them for sense gratification, subtle or gross, is strictly prohibited. Chanaka Pandit, the great moral instructor, says, Matrivat para darishu. Thus, not only a person in the renounced order or one engaged in devotional service, but everyone should avoid mingling with women. One should consider another's wife his mother. Emate haridaser ekbat saragela tabuma prabhur mane prashada nahila In this way, a complete year passed for Chota Haridas, but still there was not a sign of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy toward him. Ratriyava Seishe Prabhure Dandavat Haya Prayagati Gela Koreha Kachuna Bolia. Thus, at the end of one night, Chota Haridas, after offering Mahaprabhu his respectful obeisances, departed for Prayag without saying anything to anyone. Prabhupada Prapti Lagi Sankalpa Korila Tribeni Pravesha Kori Pranachadila. Chota Haridas had conclusively decided to attain shelter the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus he entered deep into the water at Triveni, the confluence of the Ganges and Jamuna at Prayag, and in this way gave up his life. Okay. Sekane divya dehe Prabhu stani aila Prabhu kripa paya antardane danane rahila. Immediately after committing suicide in this way, he went in his spiritual body to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and received the mercy of the Lord. However, he still remained invisible. So, he entered deep into the water at Triveni, the confluence of the Ganges, and Jamuna at Prayag, and in this way gave up his life. So then he went to Mahaprabhu in a spiritual, invisible body and received the mercy of the Lord. He went in his spiritual body to Mahaprabhu and received the mercy of the Lord. However, he still remained invisible. Gandharva dehe gana korana antardane ratriye prabhure shunaya gita anyena hijane. In a spiritual body resembling that of a Gandharva, Chota Haridas, although invisible, would sing at night for Mahaprabhu to hear. No one but the Lord, however, knew of this. Ekdin Mahaprabhu Puchila Bhaktagane Haridas Kaha Tare Anaha Ekane. One day Mahaprabhu inquired from the devotees, "Where is Haridas? Now you may bring him here." Sabe kohe Haridas Varsha Purna Dine Ratre Ute Kaha Gela Keho Nahi Jane. The devotees all replied, "One night at the end of a full year, Chota Haridas got up and went away. No one knows where he has gone." Shuni Mahaprabhu Ishad Hasya Rohila Sabbakta Gana Mane Vishmoy Hoila. While hearing the devotees lament, Mahaprabhu was mildly smiling. Thus all the devotees were very much astonished. Ekdin Jagadananda Swarup Govinda Kashishwar Shankara Damodar Mukunda Samudra Snanigela Sabe Shune Katadure Haridas Gayena Jena Dake Kanta Sware. One day Jagadananda Swarup Damodar Govinda Kashishwar Shankar Damodar Pandit and Mukunda all went to bathe in the sea. They could hear Haridas singing from a distant place as if calling them in his original voice. Manusha Nadeke Madhura Gita Mantra Shune Govindari Sabe Mele Koila Anumane. No one could see him, but they could hear him singing in a sweet voice. Therefore all the devotees, headed by Govinda, made this guess. Vishade Kana Haridas Atma Gata Hoila. Vishade Kana Haridas Atma Gata Koila. Se Papi Jani Brahma Rakasa. Se Papi Jani Brahma Rakshasa Hoila. Vishade Kana Haridas Atma Gata Koila. Se Papi Jani Brahma Rakshasa Hoila. Haridas must have committed suicide by drinking poison, and because of this sinful act, he has now become a Brahman ghost, a Brahma Rakshasa, a Brahman ghost. Akarana deki matra shune taragan, swarup gohan e mitya anuman. We cannot see his material form, they said, but still we hear his sweet singing Therefore, he must have become a ghost. Swarup Damodar, however, protested, "This is a false guess. This is wrong. Ajanma Krishna Kirtan Prabhur Sevan Prabhu Kripa Patra Ara Ketre Ramaran." Chota Haridas chanted the Hare Krishna mantra throughout his entire life and served the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Moreover, he is dear to the Lord and has died in a holy place. Durgati na hoy tara sadgati se hoy Prabhu Bangi e pache janiva nisjoy. Haridas cannot have been degraded. He must have attained liberation. This is a pastime of Mahaprabhu. This is a pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. You will all understand it later. Prayag hoite ek Vaishnava Nabadipa Aila Haridasera Bhartateho Sabare Kohila. A devotee returned to Navadip from Prayag and told everyone the details of Chota Haridas' suicide. Jaichi Sankalpa Jaichi Triveni Praveshila Shuni Srivasadir Mane Vishmoy Hoila. He explained how Chota Haridas had made his resolution and had thus entered the waters at the confluence of the Jamuna and Ganges. And Triveni. Hearing these details, Srivas Thakur and the other devotees were very surprised. Varshantare Shivananda Sabhakta Loya Prabhuri Milila Shayananditaya. At the end of the year, Shivananda Sen came to Jagannath Puri as usual, accompanied by the other devotees, and thus in great happiness met Mahaprabhu. Haridas Kaha Jari Srivas Puchila Swakarma Phala Puman Prabhu Uttaradila. When Swakarma Phala Puman. When Srivas Thakur inquired from Mahaprabhu, "Where is Chota Haridas?" the Lord replied, "A person is sure to achieve the results of his fruitive activities." Swakarma Phala Bhuk Puman. I remember when Siddhanti Maharaj was here, and very shortly before he passed away, he called Srila Govinda Maharaj and told Govinda Maharaj that basically he asked Govinda Maharaj for his blessings. He was going to die. And Govinda Maharaj himself passed away maybe a month later, or a month and a half later. But Govinda Maharaj told him, "Maharaj, we are all getting our karma fall. We are all receiving the results of our karma." That's what Govinda Maharaj said. We are all getting our karma fall. And here, Haridas Kahajari Srivas Puchila Swakarma Phala Bhuk Puman Prabhu Uttaradila. When Srivas Thakur inquired from Mahaprabhu, "Where is Chota Haridas?" the Lord replied, "A person is sure to achieve the results of his fruitive activities, his karma fall." So I'm also thinking like that. Whatever we are suffering as we get old or whatever, we're all getting our karma fall. This is what Govinda Maharaj said. Well, that's a way to think. Whatever I'm getting, I deserve more than this, but Lord is very merciful. Tabe Srivas Tara Britanda Kohila Jaichi Sankalpa Jaichi Triveni Praveshila. Then Srivas Thakur related the details of Haridas's decision and his entering the waters at the confluence of the Ganges and Jamuna. Shuni Prabhu Hase Kohe Suprasana Chita Prakriti Darshan Koile E Prayas Chita. When Mahaprabhu heard these details, he smiled in a pleased mood and said, If with sensual intentions one looks at women, this is the only process of atonement. It says, Prakriti Darshana Koili. If someone with a mood of enjoyment, here it says Prakriti Darshana Koili. So, someone has that mood. Someone with women with essential propensity, aprayaschitta. This is the atonement. When Mahaprabhu heard these details, he smiled in a pleased mood and said, if with sensual intention one looks at women, this is the only process of atonement. Svarupadi militabe vichara korila, Sriveni prabhave haridas prabhupada paila. Then all the devotees headed by Swarup Damodar concluded that because Haridas had committed suicide at the confluence of the river Ganges and Jamuna, he must have ultimately attained shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Antya-lila kori sachiranandan jahashuni bhaktaganer judayak karnaman. Well, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur remarks that after one adopts the renounced orders and accepts the dress of either sannyasi or babaji, if he entertains the idea of sense gratification, especially in relationship with a woman, the only atonement is to commit suicide at the confluence of the Ganges and Jamuna. Only by such atonement can this sinful life be purified. If such a person is thus punished, it is possible for him to attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Without such punishment, however, the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very difficult. Of course, to expect, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, this is a Parshad devotee of Mahaprabhu, and this is Mahaprabhu's standard. He said, but to expect in the modern world, or especially with Westerners, they will not be committing suicide. Now, this is extreme example, and people cannot attain this, cannot maintain a standard which Mahaprabhu is showing here, and a very strong example. Antya-lila kore sachiranandan jashuni bhaktaganer judai karnaman. In this way, Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Sachi, performs his pastimes which greatly satisfy the ears and minds of pure devotees who hear about them. Apana karunya loke vairagya shikan swabhaktera gara anuraga prakriti karan. This incident manifests the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his teaching that a sannyasi should remain in the renounced order and the deep attachment to him felt by his faithful devotees. This is and the deep attachment to him felt by his devotees. Okay. This incident maintains the mercy of Mahaprabhu, his teaching that a sannyasi should remain in the renounced order and the deep attachment to him felt by his faithful devotees. Tirtara Mahima Nija Bhakti Atmasat Ek Lilaya Koran Prabhu Karya Panchashat. It also demonstrates the glories of the holy places and shows how the Lord accepts his faithful devotee. Thus the Lord fulfilled 5 to 7 purposes by performing one pastime. Madhura Chaitanya Lila Samudra Gambhir Loke Nahi Buje Buje Jay Bhaktadira. The pastimes of Mahaprabhu are like nectar, and they are deep like the ocean. People in general cannot understand them, but a sober devotee can. Vishwas Koriya Shuna Chaitanya Charita Tarkana Koriya Tarke Have Biparita. Please hear the pastimes of Mahaprabhu with faith and confidence. Do not argue, for arguments will produce a contrary result. Shri Rupa Raghunath Parijar As Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishnadas praying at the lotus feet of Sri Rupa and Sri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Instructions from this chapter. Summarizing this chapter, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that one should derive from it the following lessons. 1. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is an incarnation of mercy, he nevertheless gave up the company of one of his personal associates, namely Junior Haridas or Chota Haridas, or if he had not done so, pseudo-devotees would have taken advantage of Chota Haridas's fault by using it as an excuse to live as devotees and at the same time have illicit sexual connections. Such activities would have demoralized the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and as a result, devotees would surely have gone to a hellish life in the name of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Two, by chastising Junior Haridas, the Lord set the standard for acharyas, or the heads of institutions propagating the Chaitanya cult, and for all actual devotees. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to maintain the highest standard. 3. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed that a pure devotee should be simple and free from sinful activities, for thus one can be his bona fide servant. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his followers how to observe the renounced order strictly. 4. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to prove that his devotees are exalted and their character is ideal. He kindly accepts his faithful devotees and teaches them how much tribulation and disturbance can be produced by even a slight deviation from the strict principles of devotional life. 5. By chastising Junior Haridas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his mercy toward him, thus showing how elevated was Chota Haridas's devotion for him. Because of this transcendental relationship, the Lord corrected even a slight offense committed by his pure devotee. Therefore, one who wants to be a pure devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu should give up all material sense gratification. Otherwise, the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are very difficult to attain. 6. If one dies in such a celebrated holy place as Prayag, Mathura, or Vrindavan, one can be relieved of the reactions to sinful life and then attain the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 7. Although a pure or faithful devotee may fall down, he nevertheless ultimately gets the chance to go back home, back to Godhead by the mercy of the Lord. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, second chapter, describing the chastisement of Chota Haridas. So Mahaprabhu gave strong punishment, and one can understand that. One who wishes to serve Mahaprabhu should be free from duplicity. Now we'll sing Hari Hari. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Mananaman Giridhari Gopinatha Mananaman Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Garadana Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Garadana Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanata Bhatta Raghunath Jai Rupa Sanata Bhatta Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath, H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan, H.I. Gosai Kori Charana Bandhan, Ja Hoite Vignana Shavishta Puran, Ja Hoite Vignana Shavishta Puran, H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Taradas, H.I. Gosai Jar Mui Taradas, Tasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagras, Tasabar Padarenu Mora Panchagras, Tader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas, Tader Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanibas, Janame More Abhilas, Janame More Abhilas, H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas, H.I. Gosai Jabe Braje Koilabas, Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash, Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash, Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan, Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayaman, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majayaman, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas, Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyas, Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas, Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naratamudas, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitya Gora Haribo, 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 Nitya Gora Haribo, 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 Nitya Gora Haribo, 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 Nitya Gora Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Saparikara Shri Shri Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhara Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namachar Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath, Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Premsigo, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasari, Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavad ki jai, Narottam Srinivas Shamananda Prabhu ki jai, Jayom Vishnupad Vishvavarenya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai, Anandakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Sri Navadip Dham ki jai, Sri Ram Mayapur ki jai, Saparshada Sri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Saparshada Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Sri Kuladvip ki jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai, Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram ki jai, Ganga Devi ki jai, Tulasi Maharani ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Sri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan, Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, all the assembled devotees ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo.
Yes,